Now.
We're on? All right, we got to get this better. We got to get like this whole. You all right over there?
Yeah, just all of a sudden got sleepy. I don't know what happened. Like, it was weird. And besides that, Biggie, these are $300 dunks. Please don't, oh man. There's a dog that Denny has that literally attacks my shoes, and
but he only likes expensive shoes.
Yeah, like these shoes are. This is my first pair, and I don't need him one though. So
yeah, well, this is what happens. This is Sports Den on a Friday, by the way. Happy Friday to everybody. Make sure you get to ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Got a whole weekend full of football, like chock full of football. We're going to get into all of that as well as our weekly Green Acres Sporting Pick'em. We'll get into that as well later on today. But let's start with the Jags. You good? All right? You all right over there? Like you're
no, I'm good. No, like
you're making faces and
no, I'm like trying. I was trying to. I think I need to expand the font. I think I'm at that age now.
Oh no,
where I have to make it. Like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's still small, and I'm trying to like read what I'm doing while I'm sharing.
Yeah, as you're talking about kicking the shit out of my dog on Twitter.
No Mike Vick.
That's what it was.
No Mike Vick. No Mike Vick. But like, I just hopefully the memory will prevent him from trying to bite my shoes.
Let's start with the Jags. Speaking of ABC, because it makes everybody drink. The Jags. Before we get to the Denver game, yesterday there was a big announcement.
Yeah.
Right. So they announced this big announcement. They say, hey, we're having this announcement at the stadium at like 4:00 or whatever it was. I don't know, with like roofsclaims.com or something.
Did you see the car that was parked in front?
No.
And the Kia with the USC tag. So the big announcement. I was like, ooh.
So everybody's thinking like, oh, they're about to announce like a covering for the.
You would think with a roof sponsor, you could.
And in
sponsor
typical Jags fashion, it's just a sponsor. There's nothing to do with the stadium. Like, is this a thing? Do people normally call these big events to announce a sponsor?
If the sponsor pays enough money.
What's enough money in the NFL? Like, what does a sponsorship in the NFL cost?
It's a great question. What's enough money to a billionaire?
Can we get somebody from the Jags? We'll Zoom you in. Can we interview y'all? Because I'd love to know. Like, this is a great opportunity, actually. I want to know what a suite costs.
I do too. I've asked that for well, I'm going to go ahead and try. Hopefully, well, here's the one thing I want. If I don't want my alma mater to lose, but I will say
I got bad news for you.
I will say this though: the worse they are, the better chance the prices of suites are, and you lock in for years on
suites.
Those. They have suites. They have a box. You can get that.
I want the suite that's attached to Norvell's office.
That's his.
I know.
That's his personal. Yeah,
I know.
I don't think you can get that one. You got to be connected.
But
Gators have been known to go into that suite before.
I see. Oh, really?
Yeah, my boy Rob Katz is a big time Gator, and when we played at Florida, he was in Jimbo's suite. Jimbo's wife, invited him, but that's not a joke. That's dead serious. Rob did, and then Biggie's still attacking my shoes. But to my knowledge, Rob is a happily married man, and he did not mess with Candy Fisher that evening. So, yeah,
this was a disaster. Let my dog roam around because now he's getting into your chicken salad.
It's done now, unless he likes grapes.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't really want styrofoam all over the place. Dang it! See, this is the Sports Den for you right here. So the Jags played Denver this week, but let me finish that thought. If somebody from the Jags ticket office would like to get on with this, I'd like to know like what a major sponsorship costs. I'd like to know what a suite costs. I just want to know. I want to know how that works. I want to know how far off we are. I can already tell you we're a long way off, but
I'm gonna go 6 figures.
Really?
For the suite.
How many games are there?
Well, we always 10? Lose one to London.
So. Well, now, I mean, so counting preseason 10, that's 10.
But I think
10 racks a game.
I think what it is you get the suite for every event that happens at the stadium. It's kind of like when you get
you think?
When you get the vet, if you buy a suite at the vet, it's not just for one thing, it's for every you have tickets to every event, but you got to pay for the food too.
And so you think it's somewhere around 100?
I'm gonna go with that because you get a good amount of seats in there.
You see, this is the information we may have a listener that's just got 100 stacks laying around. Says I want to go see a well below average football team play on Sundays.
We have a listener whose name is Stevie Stacks.
That's true.
Maybe Stevie has enough
he
money.
may already have a suite.
That's true.
May already have that. So now my dog is bringing me a football right on cue. So Denver and Jacksonville this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, obviously the favorite. Jacksonville needs to win in the absolute worst possible way. Not because of playoffs. Forget that. Forget like the people talking about, well, the percentage of people that start 0-2 that go to the playoffs, that's irrelevant here.
Yeah, like why are we even thinking about the playoffs?
We've lost 16 in a row. This was a terrible idea. We've lost 16 games in a row here in Jacksonville. We just need to win. That's all we need.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to win. So do we get it this week?
You know, I wore this shirt.
Oh, I like it.
For a reason. Shout out to Cap and them.
I don't know that people can see it really. You need to turn around and flex on
I
them.
don't know. Could you like?
Can you do the whole thing where you make your a little bit? Can you like do the whole flex? Can you do the whole like flex thing? Like can you make your tits jiggle for us? I mean, OnlyFans.
I did tell people I bought a camera, and I did buy it for OnlyFans, but but yeah, I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid, and I think that they're going to clean it up, look good, just so that the fans can overreact the other way.
So you think they're going to win?
I think they have a chance to win. I mean, it's Tyrod Taylor is good, better than this guy. They're good compared to what we just went against.
You think Tyrod Taylor is better than Teddy Bridgewater?
Excuse me, my bad. I flipped that.
Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater is better than Tyrod Taylor. I apologize. That's who we're going up against.
So what you're saying is the Jags played uncharacteristically bad last week?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a lot better, a lot more improved. Trevor has, I'm going to go straight Hayes Carline here. Trevor has said that, all the right things, and he's going to be good, and we're going to see them perform well. Bevel is going to call a hell of an offensive game plan.
I do think that they learned a lot, a whole lot. I think Trevor learned a lot. And I don't think they only ran James Robinson 5 times on purpose. I think that was like at the end of the game, one of those things where somebody gives you a stat sheet and you're like, oh my God, like that's really all we did.
Mm-hmm.
You've coached, I've coached. It happens. Like you get into the flow of the game and it's like, oh yeah, we didn't really mean to throw the ball 51 times. That wasn't by design. I do think it'll be a much improved performance. I don't think they're going to win.
Like, what is it? I'm trying to figure out what Denver has that's scary over there still. Von Miller for years was the guy that everybody feared. Jerry Jeudy's gone down at wide receiver. Yeah, the only reason I know that is because I drafted him in fantasy. I just don't know what Denver has that like just like, ooh, Denver.
Well, here's the deal. My prediction has nothing to do with Denver.
Does that have everything to do with the Jags?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. I don't know what Denver has either. I have no clue. I just know the Jags aren't very good. So it's kind of like, and it's kind of like if you ask me to pick Florida State right now, I don't need to know who they're playing. Like I just don't think that right now they can
do anything.
They can beat an ACC team not named Duke right now. So I'm kind of looking at this the same way when I look at the Jags. I want them to win, but what I really want to see more than anything else is I want to see a pace that resembles an NFL game. I want to, like, whenever I watch the 425 game or whenever I watch the 820 game or the Monday night game, I want to just be able to say, hey, that looks like the same league that the Jaguars are in.
Okay.
I don't want it to look like so drastically different like it did last week to where you're like, man, that looks like JV to high school or middle school to high school. That's what it looked like last week. I just want to know we're heading in the right direction. I really thought, and I said this earlier in the week, I really thought that was the one thing that Urban Meyer would be able to accomplish fairly quickly, was that they would be able to at least look like they belong on Sundays. And that's not what happened.
It actually looks like what happens when you go 1-16 on accident, as opposed to on purpose. Like that team, like that, like I personally still to this day don't believe that the Jags were a 1-16
No, I
team.
got you.
But like, if you told me that was, if I were to believe they would play like that week in and week out, I could see a 1-16 argument. I just believe that Trevor has to get better, and the biggest improvement happens from week 1 to week 2. And I think that they should be fine.
I went back and watched a little bit of that game. I couldn't sleep a couple nights ago. The calls against the tackles for being lined up in the backfield were BS. You see that every game. Like, I don't know like if Herbs slept with the official's wife or something, or I don't know what was going on, but you see that alignment every single game. I was just curious because after my conversation with Blake the other day, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't remember that ever being called. Like,
that's typically, it's when you have too many men in the backfield, it's typically a wide or too many men on line of scrimmage. It's the wide receiver's fault.
So I went back because I was thinking it had to be like a gross negligence, right? And I guess you could say, but it wasn't any worse than what you see. I mean, tackles cheat all the time.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested to see this week, and I will be paying attention to this. Do they change their alignment, or is it just a friendlier crew?
I think it doesn't matter. When you get told the first time, figure out the depth in which that the referee wants you to be at. It's to Blake's point, and if you weren't listening to our show on Wednesday, Blake Bortles basically said that that's impossible to happen. Like they literally tell you numerous times before they throw that flag. It's just like wide receiver. If the guy tells you to scoot up a yard, I don't care what the other crew said. Scoot up a damn yard, like so that you don't get that penalty, because you don't get to erase the penalty. You don't get to erase the fine because it was bad. It still happened.
But we've always been, I feel like, one of the realest shows when it comes to the Jags. But the one thing that I don't want to do is go all the way to the other end and start piling on things that we don't verify. Mm-hmm. We both have a football background. So I feel like we can go and we can look and we can see things like this and say, no, this is BS. One of the things I want to talk about in our meeting we're going to have after this is how do we pull footage of that and show that here? Like, how do we, how do we show, all right, this is where Juwan Taylor lined up. Well, this is where the Seahawks tackle lined up. What's the difference? Let's actually use this to educate on some things. And I think with a new offensive coordinator, whole new staff, I think we have an opportunity to do that. I agree with you that it's going to be much, much better. I don't think the Jags defense is very good. That's the number one problem right now. I want to see if Cisco gets more playing time this week. I want to see 45's got to do something at some point. Like, we've already given up on Taven, right? What does Kayvon Chason have to do to start to get into Taven territory? If we're going to be fair, like, I don't hear Kayvon Chason's name any more than I hear Taven's name.
No, I think the only person in the Jaguars, are we Jaguars media? Whatever, that talk about the Jaguars that is not happy with Casey is on me. But I've been like that from jump. Like, who else have you heard really just?
I don't really listen like that.
I mean, like going back to when I my first football video footage after surviving was watching him get escorted out to the sideline by Walker Little.
Right.
And my first comment was, I fought through COVID and survived to watch this shit. Like, this is why I'm living. Like, this is terrible. Like, I could have just, if this was going to be what my football was going to be like, I could have just ended it all. But
jeez,
like, you're supposed to play for me.
Forget your family and all. It was just, football.
Clayvon, you're supposed to be like, you know what? This is from my dog James, who's in there fighting for his life. Your ass is out here getting bullied.
Not get walked back by a guy who didn't even make the 45 on Sunday. Walker Little wasn't even active.
Forget that. This man hadn't played football in 2 years.
That's true. It's fair.
So part of it is, I just want any sign of hope. We did hear his name get called once. I believe he made at least one tackle. But that's not what we brought him here for. He's not called the tackle guru or the tackle monster. He's not called. He's called the sack guru or whatever it is. He's more like the tickle monster. Like if he even tickles somebody at this point, I'm going to be happy. Or to quote one of my defensive coaches back in the day, at least pinch the bitch. That's what we need you to do, and he won't.
So our game plan is Taven, you give wet willies, and Caleb on Chase on. We want you tickling people.
Yeah, just something, man. like I'm proud of you because you made it. You got a chance to experience your dream. You're getting paid very well to experience this dream. But I would love for you to get that 5th-year extension. But at this point right here, man, like you might not make it to next year.
He's at a position too where there's some positions on defense where they can still play well and you not hear their name. You know what I mean? Like some of those interior guys, like what Vince Wilfork used to be. He could come out of a game with 2 tackles, but still dominate.
Right.
Caleb on Chason's not in a position like that. Like you should hear his name every week.
Right. You should hear pressure. Great. Like Josh Allen. Oh, tremendous pressure by Josh Allen. Josh Allen with the sack. Josh Allen does this. That's what we can hear. Like we can hear though. We've heard those things before. That's what we should be hearing with him.
The dude's been here. The dude's been here 2 years, and his name's been called so few times that James still don't know how to pronounce it.
And I won't until he makes plays. Like when he makes, and that's what fans and players need to understand. It's not our fault that we don't know your name. It's your fault. See, what happens is when the announcer says your name and they pronounce it, it helps other people verbalize how to say your name. I deal with it with my 2-year-old. He hears me say something, and you know what he does? He repeats it. The more I repeat it, the better he gets at saying it. So if you have a name that you probably didn't know how to spell when you were 5 years old going through kindergarten, trust and believe that other people aren't going to know how to spell it if you don't do anything to make us, or say it if you don't do anything to make us.
Or 7 years old if you're in Duval County.
Well, yeah, because you get to do it already.
I mean, we got like 20-year-olds graduating in Duval these days.
But like, you know, and I wish for the best. It's not me hating. That's not me trying to pick on them. It's just the reality. You and Taven are really doing bad for the SEC. Like the SEC, like you're putting a bad name on a really, really good product. And it's crazy that both of y'all are on the same roster. Like that is like, that's the luck. Only Jaguars get that kind of luck.
Well, the reality of the situation in all seriousness is I think the defensive backs, I think CJ and Shaq and like I think they're pretty good, but they're not getting any help from up front.
Right. If
they're not that good.
Right.
They're not good enough to where they can hold their own for 4 or 5 seconds. And there's very few that are.
Like we've learned that Jalen is that good. But in 2017,
I like what they're doing with Jalen right now.
We were like, I do too.
Yeah.
Good night. But in 2017, we didn't know if they were that good or if it was getting 10 sacks was leading to that. And it was a combo of it. Good DBs do allow for more time to be able to get to the quarterback. But the scary part of it is week 1 and week 2, you haven't faced an elite quarterback yet. Like what's going to happen when we face an elite quarterback? Like you're going to get shredded.
Yeah.
With the elite wide receiver.
Don't they play Kyler next week?
Yes, with who I don't know if he's definitely better. Each week you're playing a better mobile quarterback. The difference is Arizona has a guy.
I think I'm putting Kyler in the top 10 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a guy that.
Oh, I know. Did you watch last week?
No, I'm only bringing this up because we just talked about Jalen. You know, D-Hop's the only person to account for 100 yards on Jalen Ramsey in his career.
Yeah, he's done it like a couple times.
Well, he said there's only one official time where he got all 100 yards on him. He's like, he's got 100 yards before, but when he was covering him, it wasn't. But he said he roasted him. I guess it was the last game of 16, his rookie year. But D-Hop is just all that, and I don't know how to. I don't know how we stop that.
Well, I mean, week by week here in Jacksonville, you got to get a win. Everything's better when you get a win. And Urban needs a win.
Yep.
Urban needs a win because Urban gets a win, and you don't talk about USC, and you don't talk about what's going on in the locker room. You don't talk about things like that. You talk about the win. Another loss, and before you know, you've lost 20 in a row, and now you're back to square one. The enthusiasm's not there anymore. Speaking of enthusiasm not being there anymore, let's move over to Tallahassee for a second. You guys are manufacturing drama and enthusiasm in Tallahassee these days. Like
it was all good just a week ago. Or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Joe, just a week
ago.
Just a week ago. It was all good.
Just a week ago. What's going on now?
Well,
tell us the story. Story time.
Which one? So
PK and Travis.
Okay.
Look, I want, for those that don't know this, PK Sam, former player.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Johnson, former player, friend of the Sports Den.
Very much
who,
so.
By the way, now can be on and say whatever he wants to say.
We talked about that yesterday.
Mincy hit me up. He wants to be on too.
Got to get Mincy on.
Yeah. Everybody wants to come on now.
Shit, we might need to get Mincy and Trap on since we don't have any regulations.
I don't know.
Both at the same time would have definitely got us fired.
I'd literally have to go to church.
Speaking of that, so can I get into my convo with Trap first and then tell the story? Because you just brought up church.
Sure.
So Travis and PK go get into it on Twitter. Travis, I play with PK, know PK well. His brother Lauren, good friend of mine, same class. Travis Johnson, fellow cigar lover, good friend of mine. We talk often. Obviously, he comes on the show. Travis calls me. I don't call Travis. Pick. Travis was a first round pick. I actually text Travis at 6, when I got, because I saw this when I was done with my son's football practice. And I'm like, yo, Trap, what's up with PK? And 20 minutes after that, Trap is going in on PK. And I'm like, I wonder if I had something to do with this, because 3 years ago, the same thing happened, except for Trap being the person. It was a conversation with me and Trap that PK joined in on, and then off the top rope, completely indifferent to the conversation, Antonio Cromartie decides to tell PK everything that he feels about PK.
And it wasn't good?
It wasn't good. It was literally
who likes PK?
I like PK. His family likes him. He's not a bad guy. Forget it. I'll get into it. The reality is this: PK had a bad experience with Coach Bowden.
Okay.
It happens. I want FSU fans to realize this. He is a saint. I have never had a bad experience with Coach Bowden. It's always been great. There is not a person that has ever walked this earth that is perfect.
Right.
When you deal with people for 24 hours or more than that over a course of 3 to 4 years, you're going to see things that people who only see them in spurts and flashes see. Some of us are okay, and we just don't feel the need to express that. But PK's not the only person that has had a bad experience with Coach Bowden. I'm sure if you ask Devon Darling, I think that's twins, the twin that's alive's name, what his experience with Coach Bowden was, it would probably be exponentially better than mine. That being twin who died during mat drills. If you ask a lot of the guys who played during that time, one of the sour moments they have with Bobby is probably how he handled that in that manner. I'm not going to go into those details because that's not for me to speak on because I wasn't there. And that's the thing I will say with this, the PK situation. I wasn't there. But PK had just lost his dad. He was in a situation where he felt the need to take care of his family and do what was best for them. And Bobby was in a situation where he has to think about what's best for the program. Also, what he feels his opinion is best for PK. He felt PK needed to come back. Something was said to the effect about his dad bringing it into it. PK's 20 years old, dealing with the death of a man who was really, truly involved in his life, and his father was amazing from the few times that I met him. I've never lost anybody that close to me. I'm sure if I lost my grandmama tomorrow or my mom tomorrow, at 37, I'm still going to deal with it improperly. And if you tell me something like that, I'm probably going to curse you out. I can only imagine what I would feel like at 20. Now, 18, 20 years removed, we probably got to stop bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State provided an opportunity for him to still live his dream. And if it was Bobby, right? Bobby Bowden hasn't coached in years.
Yeah.
Nobody associated or affiliated with the program that could have caused harm is still at the program. So what happened was PK discussed this because PK actually brought up something that was true it is common sense. And other podcasts have talked about it. He said the locker room was in shambles. Strong wording.
Now you're fast forwarding. Hold on. That's what PK said this week.
This week. Yeah, this week.
Yeah,
so I gave the backstory.
Yeah,
I was saying that's the backstory. If fans have yet to, I'm not telling you have to, have yet to try to empathize. I do it because I play with PK, but I also understand that this happens like every freaking 3 to 4 months. So like I get why fans respond the exact same way.
Well, just because you had an experience with one person doesn't change my experience with
right.
it. So it is what it
doesn't matter. Like so, because people always the first thing they always ask, can you corroborate your experience? I said no, I wasn't there. My experience with Bobby was different. But it's neither here nor
so
plus
PK
Bobby loved the fullback.
So PK was at the game Saturday.
PK came to the Notre Dame game.
Okay, Notre Dame game. So, but he wasn't there Saturday.
But he wasn't there Saturday. But what I was telling people is that when you go back, you reconnect relationships sometimes that you haven't talked. The state of Florida is like this. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody who works for the state. These people don't retire. They don't get fired. They are there. Literally, the same security guards that are there were there when I was there. Same lunch people, same everything. Like you go there and they remember you. You get a chance. Like there's what Coach Norvell has done is a really good job of bringing in former players. They do. I don't know if it's the Victory Walk or Legacy Walk. I don't know which one. They do 2 of them. But you can go out there and you can
a lot
speak
of
your
walking
piece.
for a bunch of people losing.
Yeah. On Friday night you walk. Friday you walk, and then they
give me
walk
a card
in.
if you're gonna get your butt kicked by Jacksonville State.
Let me tell you this: walking 100 yards arm by arm, it's a lot longer than you think.
Oh, that's nasty, man. It's all sweaty. What you're about to lock
with
the
old
elbows?
people? Yeah. Like, and you're trying to walk at your pace, and the old people are walking slow. You have a bow in the line, and you want it to be, and then the perfectionist in you wants the line to be straight, and then you're just. Anyways,
it's like when you do Bible study and people like to hold hands when they pray.
Right. I don't like.
And you're next, man. Like,
but I got to get to that because Bible study is a key component in all of this. So. PK goes down there and PK says, hey, from a source that told me, I had a phone call. The locker room's a shambles. Shambles.
He tweeted this?
Yeah, he tweeted this. Shambles, strong. Disarray, yes.
I would hope.
Either way, this happens when you lose to an inferior opponent.
Right.
It happens when you lose. So FSU fan, that's the tweet that sparked everything. And people gave PK the attention that he wanted. And what happened was some people.
But aren't you missing the bigger story?
I'm about to. What's that?
About who he tagged?
No, I'm about to get into that.
Oh, it wasn't on the original tweet.
It wasn't on the original tweet.
Okay.
So people responded to him and somebody put some epitaphs in there. And he said, see this, Travis Hunter? This is what you want to come into. And that is what
Travis Hunter's who's the biggest recruit to be fair, not just Florida State, he'd be the biggest recruit
anywhere.
Anywhere.
He's the number 1 prospect in the nation.
Is he?
Yeah. So that set another Travis off. Because Travis's thing wasn't that PK said the locker room was in shape.
Now we're Travis Johnson.
Travis Johnson's thing was, we
need like a flow chart.
Yeah. It was just a lot of tweets. And some of the tweets just aren't nice. They were very nasty.
That's what we got to do. We got to start like before the show, putting all these tweets, like screen grabbing them. Seriously.
Like Travis,
well, not now. I'm just saying like in general.
Travis's whole point was like, listen, dude, the university did serve this purpose for you. You messed up your life the way your life is the way it is now because of you, not because of anybody else. You're the sum total of your actions. And you don't need to be trying to go out here and blame it and trying to prevent other people from being great when it worked for you. It worked for you initially. It just didn't happen the way you wanted. I'm saying this very nice. Right. Travis did this with like 20 tweets and a lot of expletives.
You've heard Travis on our show before. Yeah. It didn't come out that same way.
So they go back and forth. It didn't end. It happened last night. It spilled over into last night. PK brought up Travis Johnson was accused of sexual assault.
Okay.
It went to trial. He beat the case.
PK brought this up on Twitter with a former teammate. Travis, in PK's defense, brought up PK. Travis beat the case. Travis brought up PK beating his wife, and so with the mugshot and all these different things. This is pay-per-view stuff.
It was very dramatic, and none of this was in a very good light. And in between that, fans are doing things that I always tell fans don't do. It doesn't affect you personally. Don't pick sides. You don't know.
You just got to sit back and enjoy this. You just got to read this.
Like people were texting me saying, James, you going to intervene and stop? This ain't got nothing to do with James Coleman.
No.
This got everything to do with them. Big dude, one of my friends. Hopefully I see him in the DR at the cigar conference. I don't want no smoke.
No.
But I got the call Thursday morning. I'm going to breakfast. I call, hey, man, I'm tired of this beep, bleep, beep, bleep, bleep. I swear to God, 30-minute conversation, 100,000 expletives. So I'm gonna spare you the details because a lot of the details I already shared. So I say, you know what, Trap, forget all that. How are you doing? What's going on with you? Ain't nothing going, man. I'm just about to go to fuck Bible study. I was like, what? But it reminded me of something that the great Odell Haggins did. You know how if you've been in a locker room where you played, or even just no matter how old you are, there are random moments that just you can just be sitting back thinking hilarity. One of my defensive coordinators in high school, Jesse Solomon, former FSU player, played for the Broncos. He gave a warming speech one time before we played a game. And he says, you know, I don't care what y'all say. You know, it could be my mama, but I'll shoot the ambulance and kill the driver. Exactly. Had no context. To this day, I still don't know what it means. But me and my friend Morris Benton, we bring it, Elton, we bring it up to ourselves all the time, and we all laugh because it was the most random thing ever. Odell did the Travis moment one time in practice, and he was just like, hey, man, listen, man. Good practice today, gentlemen. You know, we're going to keep it up. No, fuck that. Bird, if I didn't pray this morning, I'll fuck you up. Trap, break it down. And I said, because when he said it, I was walking to the running back room. So you're just walking, minding your business. You hear that, you're like, F that. If I didn't pray this morning, I'd F you up.
I thank God he prayed.
Yeah, like imagine how I didn't realize that this stuff really is that strong. Like, you know, I guess after you done been through all of that, you got to go through a Bible study. You got to go through some of these things.
Yeah, when you get dirty, you take a bath.
That's fair facts. But and then he said, hey, make sure you go pay for I forgot the name of the cigar conference. What? But we're talking about cigars and everything like that. And
why can't we? Would PK not come on?
He would, and people have asked me, and then I thought about it. I would love to hire PK for the 5th quarter for one reason and one reason alone. Cash.
Yeah.
PK, write your art. Every 3 months, write the Bobby Bowden.
I would love to hear. No, I'm being serious about this. I would love to hear, because I don't care. I'm unbiased. I don't know any of these people. Right. I'd love to hear PK tell his side of the story.
He's done it on 36 Degrees with me, and this is a different platform, so he would do it. It's really, and we could. I just
have like a people's court thing in here.
That was the real thing. And here's the only thing, my only judgment of PK. Do I think PK was wrong? Yes. I wouldn't have done that. That's just my prerogative. Whatever you do, but that's PK. At this point, PK is my teammate. I personally have no quarrels with him. Fans got to stop this. Like, you can't come back. Like, are you going to, like, PK was at my tailgate. I wasn't there. I was handling some stuff with the nonprofit and concessions. But from my knowledge, nobody threw PK off the top of lot 19. That wasn't the first time that PK has made a comment, and that's not the first time people have done it. You stop the internet gangster stuff. You're not going to approach a large, in-shape former athlete who made a living off of aggression. Travis was a lot more aggressive than PK, but PK was still a pretty damn good athlete. Because if you were, he wouldn't have lasted through 19. He wouldn't have lasted through the Notre Dame game. The reality is, most of you have done absolutely nothing for the program. Most of y'all don't contribute booster fees, and I'm not judging you for that. But what I'm saying is, a person who, no matter how much you feel, you cannot take the feeling away that you got when PK caught that pass from Chris Ricks in the end zone in the swamp to take the lead. Period. You may not like what he said. I get it. Cuss him out, but all that stuff, all that rah back and forth. At the end of the day, I wish this is where we do need a video. I think I'm gonna pull it and give it to Miles for another show. Styles P, a rapper, for people who don't know.
That's the one that just got shot?
No.
Oh.
No, Styles P is an old school rapper.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah,
part of the
y'all all looked at me like,
no, it's
how
okay.
dare you?
It's okay. I don't think you would know. Like, they're popular, but they weren't like, they're mainstream, but like not Jay-Z level mainstream. Okay. They were really good, like in the 90s when all the rap was real violent.
Okay.
Like that was them. They flourished. But he talked about, they asked him which album you like more, Drake or Kanye's album. And Drake and Kanye are beefing, apparently. And he says, I don't want to hear this anymore. He's like, I like both for different reasons. He's like, but that ain't no beef. They're not going to fight. Like, all they're going to do is say something violent, then I make more money than you. I can have sex with more women than you. My clothes are flyer than yours. That's literally every step, the progression of the beef and the argument. He's like, really, they should just go in the back and hug it out because ain't no bats being brought.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on social media, and I know you typically don't get back and forth, but if you look at the progression of every argument between normal people, celebrities, anybody that goes, violence is the first thing that they're talking about. I'll mess you up. Oh, you don't make no money. I make more money than you, blah, 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 woo, woo, woo. You don't got no bitches. You ain't got none of this. You ain't got none of that. I'm flyer than you. And then it's moved on. It's literally those steps every time. Travis and PK went to the money part.
It really gets down to clothes.
It's silly. Most arguments are silly, but like, it's like at the end of the day,
I'm just trying to think.
What do you really? What do you? But what do you really? Or they may say, or you're ugly. Okay, whatever. I'm not the. It doesn't matter. All I need to quote this movie from Friday, bitch. I know somebody who likes it. Like that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if I'm ugly to you because you're not my type. That's the one thing that you always tell people. It's silly or fight. And if this wants to happen, I will sanction it. I will make sure it is safe.
Lot 19 with a ring.
Lot 19 with a ring. We can make sure it's dope. Like we can raise this for charity. We could do a lot of good. We could do a lot of good. But I don't think it comes to that. But the bigger thing is what I've always learned is I stay out of I stay out of family business because family makes up. You may not make up. And when they make up, they're going to remember what you said. Like, so I always like chill. It's like, that's their beef.
Is the Florida State plays Wake Forest?
Florida State plays Wake Forest.
At Wake Forest?
At Wake Forest. Weird place to play.
Is it on TV or is it on SEC Network?
I think it's on. I don't know which one it is on.
Because I have network, nobody or ACC. My bad.
I have the ACC network, but that's a solid question. Let me find out.
Miles, can you throw up the humidor thing? Because here's what my suggestion would be: is Florida State fans, you've been waiting all year.
It's on ESPN.
Oh, now you got to watch it. Okay, you've been waiting all year for football season.
Mm-hmm.
A week ago, you were excited. Yep. What my suggestion would be is today, go to ABC. And what I would get, I wouldn't get whiskey if I was a Florida State fan because it's still a little hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
And this could go wrong. And bad situations with whiskey turn violent.
Yes.
So I think, don't judge me for this, and I'm not trolling Florida. I'd get like a margarita or perhaps like a strawberry daiquiri if I'm a Florida State fan and get a good cigar.
Fair.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is I'd make like it's a nice day and it's football season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get emotionally wrapped up in this game because we don't know what Florida State is. So there's no reason to get too happy like you were this time last week. There's no reason to get too mad like you are now.
Mm-hmm.
So get your fruity drink, go to humidor.com, type in Sports Den, you get 20% off. Get you a cigar and just chill. The season's over. Just enjoy it for what it is now.
Yeah, I was mad because of how they lost.
No, I'll tell you. I'm saying the season's not over. You've got Miami, you got Florida State. Or you got Miami, you got Florida. If you win either one of those games, you're cool. But what I'm saying is, between
you still have the bowl game hope. Like that's not physically taken away from you until you win.
I just feel like if you're putting that expectation, you're going to go whiskey, and it's going to get ugly. Is all I'm saying. I'm saying don't put those thoughts in your head right now.
I think I'm going to drink whiskey either way. So
wow. What time's the game?
The game's at 3:30. I won't start until that. I got to coach and I got to coach.
Ain't watching that game anyway.
I have multiple TVs. I'll probably be at Scott's anyway. So we'll have the Bama Florida game on one TV, and then we'll have the FSU.
I think Clemson, Georgia Tech, same time slot.
Well, I mean that's going to be a slaughter. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck to Florida State fans. I mean that. I hope y'all have fun.
Just chill out. Like I wonder. Like I know fan is short for fanatic, right? But like, do people like have lives outside of sports? Like, is it that bad?
Yeah, man. Come on. Like you know how this goes.
Yeah, but but some of it is like, yo, like go hug your kid.
But hold on, it's the reason we have a show,
right?
It's the reason why like everybody gets paid.
I get it, but I didn't know it was like
yes, you
that
did.
bad.
Yes, you did.
Well, you know what? You're right, because I am of the generation,
and it's not just Florida State.
I'm of the generation where I saw a former FSU quarterback get hit in the back of the head with an orange in class. These are the bastard children of that generation that we had that we're seeing.
I have a college quarterback that last Saturday night tried to go out to dinner with his family and got ruthlessly cussed out.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, just they're all over the place. They're not just in Tallahassee. So
that being said, please go check out I don't know who did the video, but that's how film study used to be in the glory years. Like if you messed up
your tweet,
my tweet, and whoever the guy who does, I've seen him do other couple. It's hilarious. It's actually, if Mickey Andrews was doing it, that's actually a cleaner version of what Mickey Andrews would say, especially when he talked about the kid's mom. Like it's way more ruthless. But I also believe we would be better if roasting sessions happen like that in film study. I think you'd have better athletes, because you can't get embarrassed like that and it just
you're either going to quit.
Yeah, either going to quit or you're going to be like, you know what? I don't ever want that to happen again.
Let's get to our picks. Let's get to our college football pick'em, and then if we come up with some stuff after that, we'll do that. The college football pick'em is brought to you by Green Acres. GreenAcreSporting.com is where you need to go for all of your hunting and fishing needs, all of your Second Amendment needs. GreenAcreSporting.com over off of Normandy Boulevard. Go in there, just bounce around, and you'll find something. Maybe you walk out with the Taurus,
$299.
Maybe you walk out with the El Chapo, $2,999.
3 stacks.
Yeah. Maybe you walk out with both.
That would be nice. For $3,300, it's not bad.
There you go.
You should buy more than one gun. I think you only have to do one background check if you have the gun. Like, save your money. Like, go buy in bulk. Because if you go in on Monday, you buy a gun.
If you're worried about the background check, don't go buy El Chapo.
No, what I'm saying is like it costs money for the background check each time, unless you have your
I bet you if you go in there and you buy one gun and then the second one's the El Chapo, I bet you see you'll work it out to where you just pay for one.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, you were selling Yeti coolers for him for 6 months. So you don't even carry them.
They don't have Yeti coolers, but they do have coolers.
They do
that
have
are
coolers.
like Yetis.
Yes. Perhaps even better.
Yes.
We're just going to say that. We don't know if that's true or not. But get to Green Acres. Make sure you tell them the Sports Den sent you. Last week on our college football pick'ems, a lot of you joined, by the way. Thank you for joining. You can go to Sports Den on ESPN's college football pick'em if you want to join in now. You can join our group. I went 4-6 last week against the spread. Where did you go last week?
I went 4-6.
You went 4-6 as well. I don't like that you and Blake did the first week without all of us, because it messes everything up.
It does?
Yes. If you look at the standings now, like we're on uneven playing fields. I feel like that was very greedy on y'all's part.
I think we just started it. Like Blake started it and just said, hey, come on.
Okay. So we're going to go down the line of these, but I'm going to make Alabama, Florida last.
Okay.
All right. These are random picks that ESPN puts up. We don't put them up. That's what kind of makes it fun here. We're going to start with one of the best rivalries in the history of college football. Back in the day, this was like the day after Thanksgiving rivalry game.
Okay.
Nebraska, Oklahoma. Humongous rivalry. Like, I mean, think of the biggest rivalries in the country, and that's what this was.
Wow.
Right? Back in the days when both of them were running the wishbone, both of them were competing for national championships. It's not so much that anymore. Nebraska, Oklahoma, there's a 22.5 point spread for that this year. It is in Norman, Oklahoma. There is no way that I'm picking Nebraska, even with them giving 22.5 points.
All right. You push me, because like Nebraska's 2-1. I don't think they've won the 2 games against anybody any good. Oklahoma hasn't played like the number 3 team in the nation, like for that one game. But I think Spencer, has to come out and prove all that money that he's getting paid for his NIL.
So you're going Oklahoma.
I'm going Oklahoma.
So we both think Oklahoma wins by more than 22.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one is Cincinnati and Indiana. This is a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati ranked number 8 in the country. It's at Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati favored by 3.5 in this game. You could say that this is a trap game because of all the talk surrounding their head coach and possibly going to USC
mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. I really like Cincinnati. I like their quarterback. I like the way they play. They're physical. If you look at their roster, they're very talented through the portal, and they've actually recruited fairly well. I'm going to go Cincinnati giving up the 3.5.
I shouldn't, because I picked them the first time I picked them, they lost, but they lost to a damn good Iowa team. I like the quarterback in Indiana. Shout out to
Michael
my boy.
Penix.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Jason Roberts, Tampa Bay Tech.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Matthews is kind of fine. Well, at least looks like he found his mojo last week in the return game. I'm gonna go with Indiana, and not that it's a blow. I just don't know. I know Cincinnati's good. I know Luke Fickle's good. I just like Indiana.
I mean, it's at Indiana. They've got talented players. That's it's not a bad thing. There's a reason why that one team's ranked 8th, the other team's unranked, and the spread's only 3.5.
Right.
Indiana's not a bad team. Coastal Carolina, our peeps at Coastal Carolina, number 16 in the country. They go to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bulls. Coastal Carolina is a 10.5 point favorite. I'll give you this one first.
I know what I said on Sports Then.
Mm-hmm.
Last year
when the angry mom was texting.
Yeah, that I'll never pick, and I know who that mom is too. That I'll never pick Coastal Carolina in anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about the Bulls, so I'm gonna go with Coastal Carolina.
I'm with you. I'm the same way. I watched them. What was that last week? They played Kansas.
Yeah,
on Friday night. They're fun to watch, man.
They still have like all the little people on offense, little wide people.
Yeah, with the mullets.
Yeah.
The mullets are getting old, by the way. Virginia Tech and West Virginia. Virginia Tech is the 15th ranked team in the country, yet they are the underdog in this. West Virginia is picked to win this game by 2.5. It is at West Virginia. This is another good game, man. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'm going to go with the Hokies.
You're going with Vatech. I am going to go the other way. I'm going to go West Virginia on this. I'm going to go with the home team because I've not seen Virginia Tech except for one time. And I don't know what the ACC is.
Fair.
So I'm going to go home team West Virginia here. The game that we talked about months ago on the schedule, when we were looking at Miami's schedule and saw Alabama first, App State second, Michigan State third. You said then, 6 months ago, Michigan State's better than what they've been in the past. They're going to beat Miami. Miami is a 6.5 point favorite at home, noon kick. Are you sticking with your guns?
Sticking with the runs. They can't stop the run.
So you're going to say Michigan State.
And you're giving me points?
That's the part. Like I think Miami wins this game, but I think it is super close. But you think Michigan State's going to win?
I think Michigan State will win, and that's nothing against. But I told people last week, App State had a chance, and App State, if they could have contained them a little bit more, would have won that game. Came down to a last-second field goal. I think Miami has talented players, but are in the same situation, that a better situation, because the coach actually has some continuity coming over with Manny, but like they're not as good as they should be. And Miami fans, you deserve more, if you're being honest, like than just average, because that's what they are.
Well, I'm taking Michigan State for the points, but I really do believe that Miami is going to find their footing at some point. There's a lot of talent on that.
And when they do, with De'Aaron King, it's really good.
That's the one I'm not sure.
But like it's hard to return from an ACL in a year. It's harder to return from an ACL when you tore it in the bowl game.
Yeah, 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months. We're going to come back to Alabama, Florida. Utah, San Diego State. Utah is favored by 6.5 in this. It is at San Diego State. I know nothing about either team except for I believe that San Diego State has a quarterback that is in my film review, which means that he must be pretty good because somebody sent it to me. That's all I know about these teams.
Okay.
No, nothing else. I think we both picked Utah last week and got burned on that. Right?
Yeah. They can burn me again.
I'm going San Diego State just because I'm mad at Utah.
Okay.
That's the breakdown. This is what I think. I think one of the best games of the week, if not the best game of the week. Auburn at Penn State. I'm very interested in this game for a multitude of reasons. One, Penn State was terrible last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're ranked number 10 in the country right now. This is their whiteout game. So they're going all out for this game. Huge crowd. Auburn's got a new staff, slinging the ball all over. They know how to throw the ball. I don't know. I haven't played anybody, so I don't know. Bo Nix is not exactly big game Bo.
Right. Is Bo Nix still the quarterback?
He is still the quarterback.
All right, cool. Penn State. That's all I needed to know.
I have a lot of faith in Brian Harsin. Penn State favored by 6.5. I'm going to go Auburn in this because I don't think Penn State's that good. I think James Franklin is grossly overrated as a coach.
So he's perfect for USC.
Yeah, probably so. I think he got a lot of credit for what he did at Vanderbilt, and he had two good years at Penn State. I'm going to go Auburn. I think Auburn wins this thing outright, even at Penn State. Right. So we got a couple of them that were different here. Oklahoma State and Boise State. I don't know anything about either team. Boise State is favored by 4.5. I saw him against UCF. Was not overall that impressed. Wasn't that impressed at all. I'm going to go Boise State, though.
I'm a man. I'm not 40, but I'm going with the mullet. Does he still have the mullet?
I don't know.
Anyways, I think I'm going with Oklahoma State.
Okay.
That's purely off of name brand recognition. I don't really know anything else. And I'm still mad at Boise.
For beating y'all.
For beating us.
Arizona State, number 19 in the country, going to BYU, who is number 23 in the country. Arizona State is favored in this by 2.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Said I wasn't impressed with Utah. I was impressed with BYU. I think that coach is really good.
He's another guy who's being considered for the USC job.
One of the things about BYU in the past is they've been kind of a finesse team, but bro, they're physical, man. Yep. Their defense is physical. I like the way they play. I like the pace that they play in. It's at BYU. It's a night game. I'm going to go BYU in this.
Arizona State.
Wow. One of us is going to separate this week.
Yep.
All right. Game of the week. We got to scroll back up here. Alabama Crimson Tide, number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, going to Gainesville. Money's been coming in on Alabama. The line has been pushed up to 15.5 now. Florida ranked 11th, like I said. I don't know what's happening with Anthony. No clue. Literally just got a text from him. I haven't even read. So I'm not going to read it before this. But here's what I don't think I'm being a homer when I say this. I think Florida can pressure Bryce Young. I don't know if Florida can cover their receivers.
Right.
But I think Florida can dial up pressures, and I think their front four is good enough that they can at least get at Bryce Young's feet. I think the combination of that and this being Bryce Young's first true road game in an environment that's going to be far and away the most hostile environment he's ever been in.
Fair.
I think Florida hangs around in this game. I don't think Florida wins this game. I don't really even think this game is ever at a point where you go, Alabama's out of control of it. But I do think it ends up being like an 11-point game. I do think that it's in the fourth quarter. I think you're still going to be watching this game going, okay, if Florida can get a big play here, they got a chance. If 15 doesn't play, Florida gets blown out, by the way.
Right.
So I'm going on the assumption, I'm just going to believe Dan Mullen, what he's been saying, that Anthony's been splitting reps and that he's looked good and that he's going to play. And so for that reason, I am going to take the 15.5 and I'm going to go the way of the orange and blue.
With the 15.5, I get it. I'm going to say something and it goes against everything that I normally say. I always talk about if you're a top team, or I used to say this, top 10 teams don't get beat by more than 2 scores. I think Florida's still a good team. I think Bama covers it. But I think it's not like – I don't think it's a blowout.
Do you think Florida's a top 10 team?
I think when it's all said and done, I think no matter what, like now Anthony could probably grow into it, right? It's when Dan finally gets that quarterback that does everything that he wants him to do, and he does get – and Copeland is a junior this year, right?
Good grief. Is he still got another year after this one? It feels like he's been there since.
No, this has to be his.
It's got to be. I don't know. I should know.
Yes,
that.
This is he's a COVID junior, if anything.
Oh, okay. So you have the option if you want.
Because he would have been in Tag's first class. Like not saying he was coming,
right,
but I'm just saying,
right.
The only reason I remember because I was flying to Atlanta and I got the weather delay, and I was told by a source that he had told Florida that morning he wasn't coming, and that's why his family was so mad because they were prepared for Alabama or Tennessee, and then he said Florida, and Florida almost oversigned, and he wouldn't have the space. But I think that the defense has to be more consistent, and then the quarterback has to be able to always bail him out. But I think Dan is close if he stays, if he doesn't let the NFL itch get him.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to get you 10 wins, almost 9 to 10 wins every year, no matter what. And that gets you at the end of the year into the top 10.
The saying though of top 10 teams don't get beat by double digits. I don't know if that's true in college football anymore.
No. This was what I was saying. Like,
yeah, I know,
almost a decade ago. But like now,
Alabama's
going to beat can beat anybody. But it's like really. The truth remains is that Alabama needs to just go ahead and like they just pencil them in. They've got a spot. Play whoever you want to play, Alabama. Just get prepared for the playoffs and then let everybody else or it's number one. Alabama's number one in their own poll, and then there's another number one.
Well, I'll tell you the rest of the country this. If Bryce Young walks into the swamp, and listen, there's a lot of people that listen to this that you're a fan of some other team outside of maybe even the South, or outside the SEC or something like that, and you're going to hear me say this and go, "Man, our stadium's as loud as the swamp." No, it's not. It's not. Unless you're an LSU fan. It's not. I've been to all of them.
Clemson's pretty loud. Clemson actually,
when Florida's at its loudest, which is what it's going to be,
right.
It is because of the way of how on top it is the definition of hostile because you can't escape it. You've played there. You go to the bench. You're sitting in the student section.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would say. Like having played in both, so Clemson's weird because they have this
brick
thing,
wall and
in the middle and before you get to like how Doak is, where that you have a little bit of space. So they've got two things that sound basically echoes off of. You're right. Like what makes Florida suck is that there's normally a lot of space between the end of your sideline and like, because one, they got to have the TV thing drive between it. Like they're right there.
They're there.
Like I remember when we played, like it's normally hard to locate your parents, but like my mom would go to the U and my family would go to the UF game because they wouldn't go to a lot of away games. They go to that one. And I could look in the stands, boom, they're right there. And the fans, like that's really close, really close.
So if Bryce Young comes in there and he handles that situation as a freshman and Alabama runs away with this from the jump, I got bad news for you, the rest of the country. I don't care how good you are. They're running through everybody. I think the environment makes that big of a difference for a freshman quarterback getting his first road start. Nick Saban's going to run the ball. They're going to do things to make him comfortable. And I'll say this as a Florida fan. If Alabama comes in and they drag Florida, you're not a top 10 team because everything sets up, with the exception of Anthony Richardson being banged up. Everything sets up for you. You cannot ask. You've got in your place, national TV, 3:30 kick, freshman quarterback coming in, all new everything for Alabama for the most part. If you can't hang with them now in those circumstances, when are you going to hang with them?
Fair.
So that's why I think Florida gives them a little bit of a run. Did we miss anything?
No, that was it.
That's everything.
Yep.
I-9 game tomorrow.
I-9.
What time?
10.
Where
we 48-13. One score was on coaching. The other one was on poor tackling. I did not teach them prevent defense. So it mirrored. But I also didn't think we were going to go mercy rule in the middle of the first quarter.
We lost a heartbreaker last week.
You think Walker can play down or we can play up?
I think y'all can play up.
Because when I saw the first score, I was just like, if we can score on that play, then they're not like, but I think we have 10 teams in our league this year.
We still have this thing where like we got this age where nobody can catch.
All right,
we got a problem.
And
I refuse to tell Walker to take any off the ball. Hit him in the throat, kid.
No. Like, catching is self-defense.
That's right.
Once my quarterback, because now we took Bodie. Bodie is an athlete. He's no longer just quarterback now. So we put Bodie at wide receiver. That gave us another threat. We have a package now, though.
Oh.
Where it's Bodie, Charles or Trey can play center, Mason, or Charles or Trey can play running back. So I got 4 cats that can go. And when my quarterback decides that he's more Dante Culpepper or Ben Roethlisberger, more that way, than he is Lamar Jackson, we're good. I had to tell him, stop effing scrambling and just throw the ball to the open guys that are outrunning these giant 4th graders.
Well, we'll say Walker's coach called me last night. Walker's coach, who's also my preacher.
Pastor, yeah.
And if we lose again, my tithe is going down. Let's just he called me last week. We got a new strategy though this week. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand the ball to Walker so he's got the option to run or pass instead of just having him take the snap. So as long as you hand it backwards, he can still throw. So we'll see if that puts some points on the board. If not, like I said, as a preacher, I'm not too scared to cuss you out. I'll go Travis Johnson on you. I'll drop some F-bombs, then I'll show up.
It's all good. Early. Just like I'm learning the trick. Like when I get ready, I'll do this. Like I could race hell all week and then get washed clean. We have
a revival going on right now. So if you want to go tonight, last night was dope.
I probably will need
last
to go
night was
I have it's going to be a tough game, and I know there's going to be a lot
tonight,
of curse
11:22. Go check it out.
Like
every year we have a black preacher, but I don't know if we're having one this year.
It's tough. I'm not going.
I have to look at the lineup.
After it depends on what I play. Daryl Sutherland, does that count as he's solid? Is that basically church?
Yeah, you're going to church.
All right, so so
give me a Mander and Bartram prediction.
The good guys will win if their running backs run.
So y'all don't have a chance.
No, I'm saying we got.
Oh, you're saying y'all are the good guys?
Yeah, we're the good guys.
I've never heard Daryl Sutherland cuss in my life, and you're going to call him the bad guys?
He's not a bad guy. He's just not us.
Oh. Okay, y'all want some locker room fodder?
Sure. Is the quarterback playing or no?
I'm not going to answer that.
Why didn't you answer? God damn it! You could answer that.
I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not like what. I felt like you're a Gator fan. Like all of a sudden, I think I said this the other day. All of a sudden, my DMs have been flooded by well wishers, just wishing my 6 points guys health.
I did
not know y'all were that concerned about our quarterbacks, but I appreciate. And I'm sorry I didn't answer any of you. I'm going to say Bartram.
Do they have any wide receivers? Because that would be a concern.
Yeah, their defense is. I'm telling you, their defense is good, man. It's gonna be a good game. If it wasn't at 6 o'clock, I'd come out there, but I just don't feel like sweating for you.
I don't want to sweat. And I'll be in khakis in a black pullover.
Oh, man, TJ's legit. Y'all may win this one,
dude. Let me tell you this: like they're good. There's no knock on him.
Freshman quarterback, by the way, at Mandarin. If you like quarterback play, go watch him.
Is cold.
go watch him.
Too confident. Son, it's called
Smooth.
like we need you we need you to be a point guard. We don't need you to be Russell Westbrook.
Hey,
we need you to
TJ, listen to me. If they keep doing this to you, transfer. You take that program over, son.
Listen, sometimes it's designed for you to hand the damn ball off. Like, I don't want you to, we don't want to throw it to the other team. Like there's 6 in the box, son.
MFTK Academy will let you throw it 51 times.
When there's 6 in the box, son, just hand it off. It's really simple.
We've got to get to that next week, by the way. The whole prep school football thing is falling apart in like the middle of the season. It is epic.
IMG or the other one?
No, all the ones that like the MFTK footballs of the world.
Yeah.
There was like 30 of them that popped up this year.
Oh, okay.
We'll save it for next week because it is.
I'm with it.
I've got a front row ticket to it and it's absolutely sad and hysterical.
Listen, Denny, I know you've never seen a Division I quarterback in your life.
Yes.
So it's exciting. You don't know what you're looking for.
I don't know. Yeah. Yes. That guy. All right. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Get out to the Jags game. There's still tickets available. I think you can get some for $25 actually. Get out there, support the Jags. Hopefully they get a win. Great weekend of football. Go to ABC, go to thehumidor.com, go to Green Acre Sporting. Make sure you tell them the sports didn't send you at all. ABC won't know what you're talking about, but the rest of the places will get you a discount. Okay, there you go. We'll see you guys on Monday. Nope. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Instant Reaction Show.